Teach a man how to squabble. Get that trigger next time, nigga.
It's your turn, baby.
I don't really want friends, I ain't shaking no hands cause these niggas be cool with the op. You fucking the plan and put two in your top. Grab the 762 cause the Ruger is hot. With a big booty bitch when I cruise in the drop. She give me head to the lead like it's not. Still sitting black in an off-white jacket. Never had lights, but I still told the red. Thought granny in the kitchen when I'm cooking up cat. Dante at the door with the FN plan. Baby O with the police, fuck nigga ghost. How you family going picking out the cash. My little bitch from A-List, she do nails and lashes. Mixed with Creole, she do spells and magic. Foot on a pillar, I'm grinding, I'm mashing. Walking in the bank like a model of fashion. All the blue hunters I got, I've been counting so long, my finger got blueprint. 2016 coupe Benz with the blue tint. 3.5 backwood for the blue bin. Extend on my clip, leave a fuck nigga rip. 250 a line, that's 100 a seal. 100 rounds in the chop, I'm shooting like Will. Fold the nigga up like a quilt. We smoking jealousy, then she 300 a zip. Championship ring blingin', that's a trophy. Ice on my neck, make my shirt look soaky. I just spent 1,600 at Oak. I can never let an op turn into a Zop pack. I just met a thought need to drop where the ops. Accidentally shot a cop trying to learn how to FN cock back. These niggas cap, socks hat. Yeah. They run their mouth like a podcast. That's why my business I never broadcast. On the block we checking niggas all pass. Killers creeping out of tall grass. All black Alexander McQueen, I'm a king. These niggas acting just making the scene. I got my best game from a fiend. I shoot with great aim like a Robocop. Glock 9 bang like a monoblock. Pulled up 8 plane in the soda pop. 20 in and banging, I got more in stock. Went to silent meeting, dropping 40 watt. 10 for the bracelet, it's a prom set. Killers come and kill you while you having phone sex. Nike dunks, I got a long I don't really want friends, I ain't shaking no hands cause these niggas be cool with the op. You fucking the plan and put two in your top. Grab the 762 cause the Ruger is hot. With a big booty bitch when I cruise in the drop. She give me head to the lead like it's not. Still sitting black in an off-white jacket. Never had lights, but I still told the red. Thought granny in the kitchen when I'm cooking up cat. Dante at the door with the FN plan. Baby O with the police, fuck nigga ghost. How you family going picking out the cash. My little bitch from A-List, she do nails and lashes. Mixed with Creole, she do spells and magic. Foot on a pillar, I'm grinding, I'm mashing. Walking in the bank like a model of fashion.
Man, salute to the chat and the people in the bush. For the last live kind of got interrupted or whatever. I was kind of going into the book of Enoch and the Nefertines and shit. Just coming back with y'all. Trying to keep the justice. Get out the negative shit or whatever. And shout out to Nikki with the eye patch, man. She went live earlier today and it was a positive live, man. It was very fun though. I was just trying to piggyback off the vibes and shit. That's all that was. But check this out, man. Sunday service the other day when I did Sunday service, I kind of talked about Lilith and Seth, which is a descendant from Adam third son, and his bloodline was the original bloodline that was actually on the ark when the great flood happened. Throughout the depiction of Lilith, even in the book of Enoch, it showed that Lilith was the first wife of Adam that actually believed that that a woman was equal to man. So she kind of went on by her way. That's kind of why Eve was created by the real Adam. The say that that man come from The woman come from a man, and a woman is a man rib and shit like that. And through both of these depictions, honestly, I can't say salute to y'all women, man. I can't say that. I ain't gonna cap. Because even though the backdrop of Lilith is very demonic, I'm not gonna disagree with either theory. I'm not at all. Um, and it's just something to scratch our head around, you know. Y'all, just sitting out to yourself and shit. Or even if you just read the Bible, it's certain context in the Bible that they kind of talk about both in a sense. And even with the story of Cain and Abel, being from a Southern Baptist upbringing, we never heard about the story of self. Certain times they brought it up, but they never deep dived into it. Maybe went into my early 20s when I started going to find knowledge for myself. Um, that I looked up on old codex and books of the Bible, whether it was via the Black Web or the old YouTube. It used to be easy to find a lot of these things, a lot of online web forums and blogs and shit like WikiLeaks and shit like that. But a lot of this, man, it'll make your man wonder, especially about life. Even when you get into the book of Enoch and you get to talking about giants, the fallen, um how the fallen came down and even made it with the women of the earth. And they created deities or the Hercules of Greek mythology and shit like that. All of this shit kind of is one and the same, whether you deep dive in the Bible or not. This content I'm finna run is based off of a black content creator. Um, when I get ready to go back in the video and shit later, I will put the link in the description from the live because I'll probably be spending several beans for a little minute. But I have the link in the description.
With another reaction, how y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Now, the next video is the Book of Enoch, banned from the Bible, reveals shocking mysteries of our history. And one of the questions that I hope gets answered is why was it removed from the Bible? All right. So if you're new to the channel, man, hit that subscribe button. Join the fam. Let's check it out.
Part of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Enoch is the oldest known apocalyptic writing in history. Although the ancient work deals with a biblical figure mentioned in both the Old and New Testaments, it was never intended to be included in the official canon of Christianity and Judaism. But why is that? What information contained in the Book of Enoch should not be taught in the synagogues and churches of this world? Together with you, we're looking for answers today. Before we get started, be sure to hit the like button and ring the notification bell for more videos. Also, stick around until the end to learn about one of the scary reasons why this book has been banned in many churches across the globe. Enoch. To find out who Enoch was and which of his experiences were worthy of being recorded for history, we should first take a look at the official version of the Bible. However, when leafing through the holy scriptures of Christianity, it quickly becomes clear that the information available is extremely sparse. In the Old Testament, Enoch is only mentioned in passing in a short passage. The relevant passage in Genesis says that Enoch is the son of Jared. He in turn descended from Set, who was the third son of Adam and Eve. That Enoch was drastically different from normal people becomes clear when we consider the age ascribed to him. Accordingly, Enoch is said to have lived for almost 365 years. years. However, this incredible lifespan is nothing compared to the age reached by Enoch's children. Thus, the biblical figure fathered Methuselah, among others. The so-called forefather before the flood is said to have lived to be almost 1,000 years old. The New Testament then stretches the story of Enoch a little further. The epistle to the Hebrews emphasized that Enoch was loved by God and was called up because of his sincere faith. But what does that mean? In detail, this means that Enoch was allowed to ascend to the kingdom of heaven without having to die. At this point, the official description of the Bible ends. If you want to know more about the background of this exciting figure and find out which supernatural experiences Enoch allegedly went through, you have to direct your attention to some other writings, the so-called apocryphal Enoch books.
Y'all let me know in the comment section have y'all ever read any of this, or were y'all even aware of this? You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people get shy and act like people are going to judge you because you didn't know or you wasn't familiar or hadn't heard of Enoch. You know what I'm saying? My interaction with it was very minimal and brief. You know what I mean? So don't feel bad or feel like you know what I mean? Somebody's going to judge you for that, because nobody is. And if they do, pay them no attention. You know what I'm saying? This is where you come to learn and understand. And this could be or might not be true. You know what I mean? So you're just here for the information. I've been seeing a lot of people be like, they feel intimidated to write in the comment section or to, you know what I mean, express themselves that they may have not known, and feeling like somebody will judge them for it.
And scrolls. Between 1947 and 1956, the Dead Sea Scrolls were rediscovered. For the history of the Hebrew Bible, this find represented nothing less than a breathtaking...
Now, I ain't gonna count, man. If you was like one of the people that was surfing the web during the DW days of the internet, before shit got kind of weird and shit, like when the Dead Sea Scrolls hit the internet, man, shit was crazy. Shit got crazy. I ain't gonna count, man. Like all the conspiracy theories, bloggers at that time, bro. Like, it was gems to that shit, bro. That kind of led to a lot of what you see today of the modern day woke community on the internet. And there was other context. The Book of Jubilees, the Book of Notre Dame's, just different codex and scribes throughout the Bible that was lost, that people kind of was able to research and gain knowledge from via just say the back door of the internet. We just gonna say the back door of the internet, man. If you know, you know. The evolution of YouTube and changed in the last 15 years. It has changed. So a lot of this shit, unless you go deep diving or you saved it in your watch laters from years ago, and you know what to find it, a lot of this shit you just can't you just can't load it up and get to it. You see what I'm saying? Or unless you run into content creators like Red Squid X.
World sensation. The ancient scrolls, hidden in various caves, deal primarily with texts with religious content. However, part of this gigantic archaeological treasure was also a vast collection that would later come to be known as the Ethiopian Book of Enoch. The special feature, it's the oldest known apocalyptic writing in history. As part of their evaluation, the experts came to the conclusion that the Book of Enoch had already been prepared in the 3rd century BC. For comparison, the famous revelation of John from the New Testament is dated to the year 95 AD. The main reason why the comprehensive collection of the Enoch story is referred to as the Ethiopian book is that the complete work has only been preserved in the ancient Ethiopian language. This in turn has the background that the Book of Enoch is an integral part of the Ethiopian church, which is in stark contrast to the other Jewish and Christian communities in the world. Nowhere else has the work.
Now, hopefully one day I'll be able to deep dive into the Ethiopian Empire and some of its rulers and on the bloodline of Ethiopian descendants, who their people was via R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. If you know, you know. The last great Ethiopian empire was kind of, I don't want to get the wrong history side note of it, but if it wasn't for people trying to take over the Ethiopian empire, maybe it was the 60s or 70s, some shit like that, a lot of their last ruler descendants kind of got asylum and moved to different countries and shit. one of the people though descendants was even when you deep dive into the content, they was Nipsey Hussle bloodline. Um that's why a lot of the conspiracy theorist community, that's why when Nipsey died, it was such an uproar in the community. It wasn't just in LA, but it was all over the world because he actually had tapped into his third eye, man. He actually knew where he came from and shit. He knew his lineage. And if you deep dive into Ethiopian culture, you'll find out what I'm talking about right now.
Been included in the official canon. But why is that? Do the scriptures possibly contain secret information that not only shapes our religion, but also our general view of the world? Let's take a closer look. Enoch's ascension. As mentioned earlier, Enoch is said to have been brought into heaven by God during his lifetime. However, the Bible's
without dying. Remember that. You know what I mean? As stated earlier. I think that still is mind blowing to me.
been brought into heaven by God during his lifetime. However, the Bible still owes us an answer to the question of how exactly this ascent into the kingdom of heaven took place. The Ethiopian book of Enoch is much more informative in this regard. All divine and heavenly mysteries are said to have been revealed to Enoch during his rapture. The fall of the angels is also described in detail in the ancient collection of scriptures. To understand this, let's take a closer look at the writing entitled The Book of the Watchers. According to tradition, the angel Semyaza decides to invade the earth along with some other of these supernatural beings. The goal of the angels is to
Okay, now we finna get deep dive into the last little shit. When we get into the Watchers, this is my theory on it. This is my belief. When we talk about all these other ancient civilizations, Greek mythology, Norse mythology, which North mythology is, Viking culture. And even when you go to ancient Hebrew culture, man, you get to talk about Ishnar and shit. And you get into the book of Enoch, you ask yourself, all these different guys of all these other civilizations, were they the fallen? This is why I say that Zeus. Zeus came down to earth, impregnated Hercules' mama. Not only Hercules' mama, he manipulated, I think, two other women. So was he a fallen? You get what I'm saying? Atlas, same thing. Even when you go back to you deep dive into the story of Lilith and you look at the way that whole situation happened, you ask yourself, by her connecting with Morning Star. What you gonna say, Morning Star? If you know who I'm talking about, um, he was a fallen, and she had fell off. And if you go back into the context, like I said, Lilith, her the backdrop of her origin story, that she believed that she was equal to man, which Eve was born from rib. So in some contexts, some people say that Lilith had fallen on disbelief, so that's the reason why she got with Morningstar. But Morningstar was a fallen. And if you know that whole backdrop and origin story of the kids that was proclamated behind it, the Nephilims, if you ever read or watched the movie or read the book The Odyssey, it basically was depicted off the book of Enoch. The story of David and Goliath. Anybody in the chat that's that third eye omen shit, man. If I'm wrong about some of the shit I'm saying, enlighten me. You feel me?
do human women and have offspring with them. From this mixture of earthly and heavenly beings, wild giants emerge. The giants then throw the world into chaos and arouse the deep wrath of God. So it is that the Lord in heaven banishes the angels from paradise. But that's not all. The fallen servants of God are to be thrown into a lake of blazing flames on their final day. In order to wipe out the giants from the earth, God wants to conjure up a gigantic flood. Faced with their fate, the fallen angels beg for mercy, a desperate plea that God refuses. This is where Enoch comes in. He's commissioned to deliver God's drastic decision to the fallen angels. After he's delivered the message, he's finally visited by two angels and taken to heaven. During his subsequent ascent, Enoch again gets a detailed insight into the divine realm. A glimpse into the sky. Where the expression divine realm comes from is somewhat misleading. In fact, there are rumored to be 7 different levels of heaven with conceivably different residents, according to some denominational religious beliefs.
Now, my question is more so to why would they ban it? I feel like everybody should get the opportunity to make their decision on what they don't believe. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm anxious to hear the banning, because, give me all of the information and then let me choose what I want to go with, if I believe that or if I don't believe that. If I want to take a liking to that and want to learn more about why or that, I feel like sometimes when you ban things, you make the decision for me, or you kind of say that I'm not capable of making that decision for myself. You know what I mean? And you have to do it for me. Give me the opportunity, leave the information out there and let us choose to do what we want, or, what we will with it. That'd be my only issue with things sometimes when they ban things,
different residents, according to some denominational religious beliefs. This idea is also shared in the Book of Enoch, which is largely why some religions do not include this book in the canon Bible, because no other book of the original Hebrew Bible shares this idea of there being 7 levels of heaven. In every other book of the Old and New Testament, only heaven is mentioned. There is not once a mention of another realm of heaven aside from the one and only heaven, which Enoch is said to have ascended to.
Nah, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of different levels. I've always been told about or given the information about just one heaven. You either make it to heaven, or the alternative of what not making it to heaven would be. And that was it. You know what I mean? So maybe you guys were introduced to that in your surroundings, in your family, you were given a different information. Maybe not. But for me, it's the first time I'm hearing of multiple levels, possibly.
And aside from the one and only heaven, which Enoch is said to have ascended to.
Now, I've heard of another level of hell, which is purgatory. But even in the Bible, their depiction of in many different descriptions of the Bible, their depiction of purgatory is totally different. Even if you watched the TV show Supernatural, they purgatory to them was where the demons descended. That's where they was roaming around. The unhealthy demons. That's the realm of hell where they kind of lounged around in. Now, far as different levels of heaven, that's a lot of that. If you deep dive into Greek mythology, you kind of get into that. Even when they talk about the Titans, which when you deep dive into the Titans, you really come with the common denominator that they'll remind you of the fallen or the Watchers. So when people say everything on, no matter which religion or denomination you come from, like all of it the same, they just remixed a lot of this shit, throughout the years.
To this idea, in the first level heaven are the clouds and the stars. In the level above the fallen, damned angels await their fate. The third heaven in turn houses what we would commonly call the biblical paradise. This is where the souls of godly people are brought. However, in the north of the third heaven is also hell, where sinners receive their punishments. Passing the sun and the moon and gigantic guardians and choirs of angels, we finally reach the 7th and highest heaven. Here is the throne of God, and only a few archangels are permitted to dwell at the side of the Lord of the worlds. According to the book of Enoch, after arriving at the side of the Creator, Enoch is commissioned to write down everything that the Creator dictates to him. In addition to the mysteries of heaven and earth, this also includes the story of creation. In just 30 days, Enoch completed 360 books. Armed with these new writings, Enoch is sent back to earth. The books are then given to Enoch's sons. He instructs his children to renounce all sins, and at the same time warns them of the approaching flood, with which God will wipe out the wild giants. This information helps Enoch's great-grandson, Noah, prepare in time for the devastating flood and build his ark of salvation. After Enoch has carried out the tasks assigned to him, he's finally admitted to the heavenly paradise. paradise. With all this in mind, it begins to become clear why the Book of Enoch was removed from the Bible. We know that many years ago, the Bible was carefully curated by experts who decided which books were canon and which were not. This was done in an attempt to free the Bible from any attempts at fraud. After all, as writing was becoming more commonplace and more people were seeking to disband the Christian faith once and for all, the church needed to do something to ward off anyone who wanted to lead Christians astray. Thus, sometime around 382 AD, the Bible was combed through and the canon books of the Bible were decided upon. Books such as Enoch were removed because they didn't align with all the other books that were determined to be canon. In fact, some books didn't align with one another at all, including one non-canon book titled The Wisdom of Solomon. This has led some people to believe that the Bible as a whole cannot be trusted. This is largely because of the idea that if non-canon books can be removed, who's to say that canon books may not have been removed as well? If the Bible was curated by humans, what kept human influence from removing important books of the Bible? In actuality, it's clear to see that all the remaining books of the Bible perfectly align with one another and don't contradict, with a handful of exceptions that have been determined to have been the result of minor mistranslations. Aside from this, every book of the modern Bible shares the same story without incident. On the contrary, the books that were removed, now known as the apocryphal books, contradict one another at every angle and don't align with the other 66 books that are found to have been authentic. Thus, a total of 15 non-canon books were removed. So, what does this mean for the Book of Enoch?
But I don't know. For me, that makes me dig deeper. When something contradicts with itself, it makes me do what? Then turn and dig deeper and gather more information. It makes me lock in. It makes me look for more, go searching for answers. And sometimes I think that's what's needed. I think that's the purpose. You know, in order for you to gain something and get something out of it, you got to continue to dig deep and look into and research and gather more information and data. It's just not surface. And I think sometimes when we remove, we strip ourselves of those opportunities. Just a thought.
To put it simply, the book appears to have been created fraudulently. Its story doesn't align with the other 66 books, and no ancient translations of the book have been found, suggesting that it may have been written in much more modern times. Aramaic fragments of the book have been found, suggesting that ancient Jews and some Christians were aware of the book, but we have no evidence that the book was ever studied or verified by first-century Christians, as is true with most other books of the Bible. Enoch and pre-astronautics. There are many different reasons why some people believe that the Book of Enoch was banned from the Bible. When you look at it from a strictly historical context, as mentioned, it's obvious that the Book of Enoch doesn't belong because the book doesn't echo the beliefs that are shared all throughout the Bible. Because of this, the book has been sworn off by both denominational and non-denominational churches. However, there's a much more bizarre theory that has been passed around in recent years. As it would turn out, some people believe that the book was removed from the Bible as part of a worldwide conspiracy. This conspiracy would have been shared and agreed upon by every church across the globe, and thus the Book of Enoch was removed. According to this idea, the Book of Enoch doesn't actually share religious history, but instead shares the story of a mysterious alien abduction. Yes, according to this theory, the secret writings of Enoch confirm the theories about ancient alien visitors. Remember, the parascience of pre-astronautics is based on the belief that the ancients were regularly visited by extraterrestrial intelligences. But how do God, fallen angels, and bloodthirsty giants reconcile the views of this theory? Well, this is because the pre-astronauts have a slightly different interpretation of the events recorded in the Book of Enoch. In this theory, the creatures that descended on Earth and mingled with women were not biblical servants of God, but aliens. The figure referred to as God in the Book of Enoch was in fact not the heavenly creator, but the head of the extraterrestrial species. The rapture of Enoch to paradise thus had less in common with an ascension to heaven than with a classic alien abduction. So what Enoch saw during his journey was either the spaceship of the extraterrestrial beings or their home planet. The flood that was conjured up by God could therefore have been the result of a highly developed extraterrestrial weapon. At first glance, it seems very difficult to place the events described in the Book of Enoch in such a cosmic context. In fact, this collection of writings also contains a passage that touches on this area at least to a certain extent. Although the so-called astronomical book doesn't speak of aliens and spaceships, it still gives us an impression of how our planet and its galactic neighborhood are structured. As a result, the Earth is not an almost spherical celestial body, but a flat disk. In addition, our earthly homeland doesn't revolve around the sun. Instead, it's the sun that orbits the Earth. Anyone who actually believes in the pre-astronautical background of the Enoch story will sooner or later come across a central question. Why have aliens not visited us since ancient times? After all, they've made themselves known to mankind openly in the past, so that they were worshipped as heavenly beings by the inhabitants of the Earth. Some supporters of this parascience believe that another visit from the extraterrestrial intelligences is imminent because they're watching us.
Maybe being that space is infinite, possibly. You know, they moved on. They came during that time to gather information from this planet, and now they got what they needed and gone. I don't know. Just a speculational thought.
Another visit from the extraterrestrial intelligences is imminent because they're watching us all the time. Given the current evolution of our species, the aliens may believe that we humans are in danger of wiping ourselves out. Accordingly, with the development of atomic bombs and the like, we've now reached an explosive technical age. So according to pre-astronauts, it won't be long before the currently invisible observers will put us back on the right path. Now it's your turn. What do you think about the exciting content of the Enoch book? Why do you think the scriptures were not included in the official Bible canon? Let us know your thoughts, suggestions, and feedback on today's post in the comments below. If you enjoyed our foray,
I never thought about it that way. Maybe we haven't seen extraterrestrial life due to the fact that
Now with there's so many so-called conspiracy theories about extraterrestrial life. Um, with some of the close encounters that we have, or we've seen, or um, we've seen even depicted on movies and television, would you think those people are the fallen, and they just depicted them in a whole nother light to fascinate them the media? Cause some things in the world you can't explain, like the two rocks that sit diagonal and they depict a straight line, or even the maze that's in Ireland, if I ain't mistaken, the pyramids, um, the Gaza Strip. Hell, even the part of the ocean that don't mix together. You feel me? Cause even when we talk about that little strip of ocean where salt water, and if you just seen the shit, you know what I'm talking about. But it's a little strip of ocean where they don't mix. We get to even talking about Moses leading his people from the you get to talk, not Moses, but when just the whole depiction of the Noah's Ark, or even the story of Notice when he parted the Red Sea, like that depiction of the ocean where that water don't mix it, would there be what Moses parted? Because that part of the ocean don't mix. I'm just saying, man. Over the years of growing up Southern Baptist and meeting people from other denominations and religious groups, like a lot of them questions, man, I ask. You know, growing up and becoming my own man and having my own belief systems. Some of this stuff in nature, man, you really when you go in the Bible, some of this stuff in nature, man, it's like it makes sense. But at the same time, when you pinpoint it, it's like a lot of this shit, man. This world really, man, miraculously, it's a lot of the things that's talked about in the Bible. You can find these places. If some of this shit be right in front of us, we just be tied in or tapped into something else we don't pay attention to. You feel me?
they're patiently waiting to come in and pretty much hit the reset button on things that man could have destroyed or got out of whack and got out of order. And now, if we do see him, it's like, uh-oh, back to whether or not it's going to be a good or a bad experience when we do find life or life finds us and shows itself. That would be more so on the bad side, possibly. You know what I mean? But all the stuff is speculation, man. We don't. It's still the unknown. It's still the unknown. So the Book of Enoch, man, banned from the Bible, reveals shocking mysteries of our history. I'm anxious to see, man. Do you guys have any more information, or do you see things different, or were you privy to information differently, or I'm waiting to see. Put it in the comment section, and y'all stick around and stay tuned, man. Until next one, I'm gone. Peace.